All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Go and check out its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're out here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pin video, pin post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our, on the left side, well, we got our graph here, our FSIC graph in white. On the left side, we got our highest intent peeps. They're looking for boudoir photographers right now, or boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent peeps, highest converting, closest to the money. This is the people we focus on reaching here when we make videos about BSS. Way over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, people not searching for boudoir right now. Most of them don't even have any idea what the heck boudoir even is. So talk about some stuff related to reaching those people on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we talk about BLCS, and currently over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So boudoir search sameness, that is BSS. So a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, extra bad, because that means we're on page 2 or deeper of Google. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of searches, approximately 80% of the market if we're page 2 or deeper. So, our business on a fast track to death in that case. And 1 slot on page good, that ain't good either. Because if we got 1 slot, well, there's 10 organic slots there. If we got 1 slot, that means there's 10 other businesses or 9 other businesses there, boudoir photographers. And everyone most likely has 1 link. And so as a result, we look the same as everyone else. We don't stand out. We're not looking amazing. Our 1 slot same as everyone else. So what's a buyer going to do? Well, approximately 80% of the buyers, they're just going to click down, open every link page 1, never even go to page 2, but open every link page 1 and actually fill out every contact form, get a quote from everyone, compare, price shop, negotiate, get the most for the least, waste time, and there's going to be like 10% or less of our contact form fill outs are actually going to result in buyers. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which nearly everyone knows about, and also this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So yeah, market saturation, more peeps, become boudoir photographers. Seems like every week, it's kind of people naturally upgrade their gear, get new iPhones, get new camera gear, and peeps, throw up their Google My Business profile saying they're boudoir photographer now. They have their website saying they do boudoir photography. They post in the mom groups on Facebook more, saying they offer boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, then the false belief of page 1 equality. This has kind of been something boudoir photographers have accepted, where it's kind of like people auto believe that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, when it's not. That's not true at all. What is actually true is Google will give us as many page 1 slots as normal, or as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So kind of the old school thinking, default original thinking, boudoir photographers they got their website ranked, page 1 slot 8. So market saturation, more boudoir photographers come in, their website ranks above theirs. And as a result, they're pushed down to slot 2, page 2, slot 1. So they're sitting there like, man, I hope those people delete their websites and Google de-indexes them so Google can bring me back up on a page 1. But no, dude, that's sit and wait approach, and that's not how Google wants us. That's not how Google will reward us. Google will reward us by actually going, taking as many slots as we want. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So, disappearing because if you got 0 slots page 1, you're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, yeah, you're disappearing. If you've got only one slot, page one Google, you look same as everyone else, you're still essentially invisible. So yeah, you're disappearing. In both these cases, being a bit disappearing boudoir photographer means it's kind of like a warning light, a flashing light, the canary in the coal mine that actually our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We have discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. And the way it works, it's right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, making sure we show up there. And this is like the snow at the top of a mountain. Think of the Andes Mountains down in South America, the snow up there on the eastern side, the backside of those mountains. What actually happens is that, the snow is always melting. It's always snowing there and melting. So the water flows into small streams, small rivers, and eventually all that water collects into the Amazon River. That Amazon River, that's page one Google search. And that means everything starts, everything begins with, getting the snow up to the top of the mountain, and then everything melts from there. And so getting up snow up there, that's SQ methodology to get that snow all the way up there. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to compete and still grow in a market that's getting more and more saturated over time, and do it in a relatively quick time frame. On the other hand, the other option is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is taking people's jobs already. We don't have the time to wait 5 to 10 years to build a massive, large brand. But interestingly enough, my estimates actually, if one is using SQ methodology, my estimate is it can actually build a large, well-known brand at approximately 8x the speed as normal traditional methods, simply because we're on so many different surfaces, so much more volume, much higher frequency. And so an example here of SQ methodology, we are now going to go to Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, so let's say we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they boudoir photographer, shoot boudoir photography, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's competing for the hyper competitive page one slots on Google with their website. And we're like, man, we ain't got a large, well-known brand. Literally, the only chance we got to compete is implementing S-cube methodology. So, let's say we take it all the way to the max, where we're, we take literally like the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city across all social search. And then let's say that all flows to Google page one search, and we're taking first 300 slots Google search as well. And it's 10 organic slots per page one on Google. So, we're taking out the first 30 pages. So whenever a boudoir buyer looks for a boudoir photographer in our city, a boudoir photo shoot, whatever, they actually, we're basically the only one they can find. So if we're basically the only one people can find, obviously our business is probably going to be the only one growing, and then the competing 999,999 other boudoir photographers, their business will probably be shrinking. And so this is kind of the extreme case of what SQ methodology can actually enable or give a chance to a boudoir photography business to achieve. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we now have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more slots page one Google search. We're also, for each new slot we're kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them visible. A lot of boudoir photographers like this one because they can actually choose how many of their competitors to kick off, basically based on their own effort. Put them on page two or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So put their competitor businesses on the path to becoming disappearing competitor boudoir photography businesses. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum, or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search. It's because everyone else is probably going to have 1. So, okay, our 3 is always going to dominate. Everyone else has got 1 each, 1 link each. And our, the super rare chance someone has 2 slots, well, our 3 slots dominates them as well. Finally, boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our, our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. That's fine. Thankfully, we now have a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, on to my results here. I wanted to rank and dominate for this keyword BLCS boudoir. So I use S-cubed methodology to do it. Let's see the results. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I'm from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now, all right, main event here. I'm going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. Also going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check it out here. Let's see. All right, we got 1. Boom. Nice. City's always harder than local. So, all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got, so local, we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City, we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 on Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation, yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably gonna bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page 1 Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page 1 on Google. And you see S-cubed methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you want to use S-cubed methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using S-cubed methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically the name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increase in the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day. More and more people use an AI search every single day. Still, Google's about 90% search volume, but we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which S-cube methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page 1 against us and build up our keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum, then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page 1. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page 1 domination, which is like, dude, that's like 7 out of 10 slots or more. Page 1 Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with 1 person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page 1 slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then kind of, you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.